Hello fellow humans and welcome to Bifington's YouTube channel and continuation of our Let's Play of the Direwolf20 1.20 mod pack. And this is episode 35. We're doing more Botania today, and on that topic I'm wearing Botania's Terrasteel armor, and I've used the same process we talked about last time to put all the enchantments on there and imbuements and things like that. And a few gems. You can see the gems down there. And the imbuement's kind of off the page, you can't see that much of it for the helmet. And it's pretty much max level things. There's something I'm missing really to get the maximum level that I would like to have, and that's this an Ender Surge gems, which are only available from apotheosis bosses or mobs in the end, and I'll have to work on that in the future to get that. I can't get that in the overworld. And here's the pants and the shoes, and I also upgraded or enchanted the bow, so now it's Quick Shot 7. Power 9 multi-bow, so it fires 2 extra arrows as well as the 3 arrows that it's running, that it's shooting just from being the tri-bow from the Twilight Forest. And then it has a 60% chance, if you look at the imbuement on the top, it's a 60% chance to shoot a second arrow, and I'm not quite sure if that means another 3 arrows or just another arrow. And so basically it has 3 arrows with a chance of 3 more arrows or more. So a lot of arrows come out of this bow. And it gets endless quiver, so any arrow you want to use on there, and XP boost and unbreaking and mending in there, so it basically never breaks. And I didn't put anything on the Paxel. I think it's fast enough already. And then the the sword, the imbuement is definitely off the page in this one. Sweeping edge 8, sharpness 9, looting 3. Soul Stealer, so I should get soul shards, because we do have soul shards as a mod in here, and eventually you can get spawners based on that mod. This Arming 7, which is very interesting because you always get the weapons out of mobs you're fighting. Life Leech, Unbreaking Mending, Scavenger 3, so it'll actually roll the loot table from mobs 3 times. Experience boost and Beheading, so I get a lot of mob heads from this sword. The attack damage is 23. But if we hold what I think it's control here or shift, I think it might be off the page. But actually show the actual damage there. And so it's anyway, it can't for some reason one-shot a zombie, but one-shotting a creeper is no problem. So I don't know what's the deal there. We need to go on to Silent Gear to get the kind of the end game for this mod pack for it, so we'll do that in a later episode. And I don't know if you noticed last episode that I could not get, if I get out of this third person, here we go. I couldn't get this book to work in the Mana Enchanter. It's the Last Stand enchantment, and that does not work, apparently. Silent Gear is still a work in progress. It's back, but it's still a work in progress, so some of these enchantments don't work, as I mentioned, and the Mana Enchanter couldn't figure out what... And I tried it again with every piece of armor for this Botania set. I couldn't get it to work. So it's just not working yet, but it's going to get there probably in the future. And then off camera, I did fight the Tier 2 boss for Botania, and I'll ask the editor to very kindly slip in a short video on that. Alright, so this is the Tier 2 Botania boss. In this fight, we have to use a Terrasteel ingot to make a Gaia spirit ingot, which is just that with just a Terrasteel ingot with 4 Gaia spirits around it. So you have to do Tier 1 to get to Tier 2. It's quite a bit harder fight. I made this Rod of Unstable Reservoir, and it shoots out these magic arrows that arc through the air and land on bad mobs. And this guy's going to be doing that the entire time at me. And meanwhile, they're immune to it. They will not be hit by it. He does have these little black flies, like butterflies or whatever, that run around. And it'll give you blindness in the wither. But I'm pretty much immune to that, so it shouldn't be a problem. Which is kind of annoying. Let's just see how this goes. Hopefully he's not immune to the bow. He might be. He might be immune to bow. Yeah, he's immune. Alright, let's try this other spell that works and everything. If I can get a spell in him. He moves much faster. then... oh, this did a lot of damage. This spell is really good. You can put a lot of them on. And he spreads it to those black butterfly things that die as well. It's a really, really good spell. And it's looking enough mana. Now it's time for the old ways. Let's see. I can't. He's so fast now. It's really hard to get a handle on him. Even a hit. There we go. That is really good. That's a really good spell. Remember to stay in the arena. Don't go outside that pink. You do kind of want to avoid the pink clouds and stuff. So this is the little magic arrows that are going out, but she's holding them off. He drops so many effects in the back. They're all on fire for daytime. We should go down here in a second. Jeez, now it's raining. And you're gonna have a hard time shaking that off, buddy. Breathe. I didn't think I have reactive on my armor anymore, but it looks like I do. Feels like I do. I've never fought him with Ars Nouveau magic before. Oh, he did it, man. Excellent. Right. That was quite a bit tougher of a battle. I don't need potions of healing. Oh, Rune of Sloth. Nice. Looks like this rest of the stuff we probably want to keep. Rune of Winter. Oh, good. Some of these things are hard to make. All right, so we got the Dice of Fate. It's one of the relics. It's soulbound to me, to this my player. And when you roll the dice, you get a chance to get one of the special prizes from this boss fight. And it's kind of random. Sometimes it comes up and gives you the same item. And so, or it would give you the same item, but instead it gives you nothing. And so it keeps track of that. And you get all these wills, which add extra abilities to yourself. You put them on your helmet. And this is the Will of Thalrock. And you get stronger critical hits if low HP. So I don't ever use that. Black Lotus. This is a blacker Lotus, and if you throw this into a mana pool, it gives it some mana. Those have been severely nerfed like long ago, and they don't give... The regular one doesn't give anything, and these ones I don't think I give much at all either. And then Rune of Sloth and a bunch of other stuff. Previous fight, I got the chicken trophy. It's nice. Okay, and so we get to open this up now and see what we got. I'm recording this right now. And roll the Dice of Fate. Oh, cool. We got this Key of the King's Law. And if you look at the achievement, it says, a fake. Psychotropic. Being awarded the Key of the King's Law for heroic feat. And so what this does, it summons in all kinds of golden... You can even see them, yeah. All kinds of golden tools and weapons. And then it fires in the directions you were pointing them at. I'm still holding right click, so it hasn't fired them yet. And it fires them, and they explode. So it's a pretty cool weapon on that. And I was able to get all of the relics. You can see them listed up here. And basically, end of that boss fight, you get a Dice of Fate. You roll it, and you get these soulbound. These are soulbound to me, Bifington. This is a fruit of Gracia, whatever the hell you're going to pronounce that. But it's food that you can eat, and it never goes away. So once my bread is all gone in my backpack, I can replace it with this, and I'll just use that for food forever. This is a Eye of the Flugel, allows you to teleport between different locations. Got the Key of King's Law, and then we got all of the rings: Ring of Thor, Ring of Loki, and I am wearing the Ring of Odin, which gives you plus 20 max health, which is pretty awesome. These things are always breaking in here. And I do need to use a speed charm because I don't have any speed on the imbuements. Very little amount of speed anyway. And that's about it. I did make this Globetrotter sash, which gives you step height. So you don't need a step height gem in there in my shoes any longer, but it's kind of duplicating it. And it gives you a speed boost as well. It has basically used mana in your inventory so that your armor and any of your mana stuff never takes damage. And I have this trinket case here. This is something from Botania. And you can put all of the rods in there. I made several different rods. I made this greater band of mana, so it stores mana in a ring. But we already have this mana mirror, and I don't need the ring at all. This Charm of the Diva doesn't work. It tries to work, but then it doesn't work. And I think you'll see that in that video when I was trying to fight, when I was fighting the 2/2 boss from Botania. It seems to be trying to charm them, and it doesn't quite charm them. So unfortunately, these other things don't fit in here. It'll take the rods and a bunch of other rings and trinkets and stuff like that, but it won't actually allow you to put everything in there. You'd think you could put in there, but anyway, that's it. So let's get started with what I want to do today. I've mentioned before I've had problems with spawning mobs at the Lagageddon area. I'll also ask the editor to put a brief video, which I uploaded to GitHub, that shows that mobs are spawning in here, but unless I'm within 3 blocks, a player within 3 chunks, three chunks of them, they immediately despawn. And you'll see that in the video. Okay, here's a brief video of the issue I'm having right now. I thought it was a mob, it was an Apotheosis spawner issue, but I'm spawning mobs using Apotheosis spawner in a Hyperbox, and then using the wormhole portal to send the mobs here to my mob grinder, and they are coming here, but they are immediately despawning. Okay, we're back. And so I found out that you can spawn them in a Hyperbox, and it works fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Botania to get dungeon loot. I'm going to put that dungeon loot in here. Is it actually? Okay, so if you go look in here at the base, I now have 2 more Hyperboxes. And what's really interesting, when you get a Hyperbox, you put it down. Like if you go to put it down, it shows you like a cartoon or an image, a phantom image of what it's going to be. If you look left and right, you can change what symbol will be in the front. You see how it's, if you look at the bottom edge, if I just look left and right, not going too far, you can see that you can change what symbol is the front. So that's why these things are different symbols now, and I have more control over what we've got here. So in this blue one, it's best if you're flying when you come in here. I've got the Apotheosis spawner, and this is for the Death Tome from Twilight Forest. And I've got wireless redstone, so I can turn this on and off from the overworld. This is a pocket dimension. This is a totally separate dimension per each Hyperbox. So, and then I'm using the wormhole portals mod to make a portal here that'll teleport the mobs to the Hyperbox that's next door. And so because this is the base, for some reason this works. I tried to use the Ars Nouveau method to make a portal, and it would make it, and then it would immediately, like as soon as I left the Hyperbox, it would break. And it actually brought the server to its knees. And this room was full of death tomes. I had to spend a lot of time getting those things cleaned up out of here. And so this is the basic target cell, and what you use is, I have an advanced one. If I right-click this, I have 2 targets. You have the overworld grinder, and the hyper grinder is a different Hyperbox. And basically, you shift right-click this in wherever you want it to set the target. And then you can save that. You can save the 5 in this particular one. And then you would right-click this into here, this portal, and you could select one to add or remove anything like that. But if you just right-click it, you see that it's activated. I can deactivate it, and it's targeted here at this hyper grind. It consumes energy. It's about 60 RF per tick, or FE per tick. And so we can go ahead and take this portal, and we jump into the other Hyperbox, and you can see it's basically just a grinder. We've got the 3 grinders down here with mob grinders with sharpness 10 and looting 10. So I want to use this for, I don't know if the Botania mobs actually are affected by looting, but I just want everything that's spawned, I want to have looting 10 on it. And you see, here's the remote redstone switch. Basically, it operates by this GPS card, which is basically right-click that onto that remote redstone transmitter. And when I click this, it turns it on, and it works. All right, so let's go in here, back to the Botania area, and we want to make a flower to make this whole thing happen. And just a few things have changed here. I've got a basement in here. I got this using the construction tool, construction gadget. This guy right here, it destroys all drops. There's all blocks. There's no drops from these blocks. So it's kind of it's kind of a nervous thing to do. So, all right. So here's a portal, and this portal is also from the wormhole mod, very similarly configured, and it's going to send all the mobs generated here over to the Hyperbox with the grinder in it. And so the flower we want to use to make these mobs is called the Loonium. And this consumes an enormous amount of mana. And we have an enormous amount of mana, so it's a good mix here. And it uses all of these runes that I've already made. And actually, I got them from battling the... I think I got all of them from battling the Tier 2 Gaia Guardian. And that's his right name, Gaia Guardian. And what we just need to do is shift click that in there. We get most of the things we need. Probably not everything. I want to show this putting. I love the Starfield creator from Botania. It changes the sky to be more of a starry sky. Right here we have the runes. I think I'm missing one or two things here. Let these stack. Come on, give me all that. All right, so we've got the green, we've got the gray, with the three. We're missing the pixie dust. Yeah, pixie dust. Just give me a pixie dust out of there. And then we're going to need a seed, which I think I have upstairs anyway. I just don't know what to say about that. All right, so this is a flower. We didn't use the petal apothecary to make this. So we've got the redstone root, 3 runes in here. And you can use green petals as well as mushrooms. I'm just happen to have the mushrooms from a mine, from a quarry. And it's going to make the Loonium. Shows you right there. And even though I dug a hole down here, this whole thing still works. I turned it to ice at one point. I had to fix it. It still works. And we have the Loonium flower. And so I was usually using it in a floating situation, but I want to use this overgrowth seed on the grass down there so that it works twice as fast. Hold it above your head. I don't know why we do that, but you can hold it above your head if you want. All right, so here we are. Step over here and fly over here. And so basically what I have here is a Fluix Maniple, and I'm hoping the flower will take mana from the pool above it. I do have this monochrome that shows me the active area of the flower. Oh, right. You can see that is in the walls. So that's where it's going to spawn things. It is a very large area. I think that's in the... Oh, it's already doing it. So it is working just fine. So there's mobs coming in. It shouldn't be able to spawn them in the walls. Hopefully it doesn't spawn them over here. And so these mobs are spawned by the Loonium, and they have more health than normal. So they're a bit harder to kill. Shouldn't be any problem. So they have dungeons. They spawn holding dungeon goodies, or dungeon loot. And they're extra strong. And when they drop they drop the engine loot, they drop the dungeon loot. And so I can have fat loots. And so I just want to get some dungeon loot. I don't know if we really need dungeon loot. We're kind of at mid-game. So I'm experiencing quite a bit when I go to make things. I think I already have the recipe programmed in there. And I don't. So by definition, I'm going to say that's mid-game. We can actually watch this remotely. I have this thing from Ars Nouveau. It's called a Scry Crystal. Anyway, let's check out the Scry cell. I have the Scry viewer back here at the base. It only works in the overworld. It does not work in the hyperboxes. So here's the Scry crystal, or Oculus, Scry Oculus. And the way that works is you right-click the crystals with a parchment, and then what I did is I named them in an anvil. So if you look at this particular parchment, it's the mob grinder. And I think that's the one remote one over there by the Lagageddon. And here's the Botania area. And this one is the Loonium spawning. So we can right-click this, look at Loonium spawning. Oh, he's stuck on there. I don't know if I can do anything about that. But eventually they walk off. So you can see the bottom left, I have controls WASD to move this around, and left shift to dismount. A few versions ago, when you hit left shift, it would actually put your player, where you were looking. So if I hit left shift now, it would put me in there, and I would go through the mob grinder. I'd be teleported. Right. So, let's look at the You can kind of get an idea what's going on with the Botania area here. This is looking down. You said everything is running. We know that the Rosa Icana is running. You can run multiple of those. And the Goriamus is running, and is a flower running? The lava flower. It looks like it is. Yeah, I just drank just then. You see that? Usually you want to fly in when you come in here. No, they're dying. Where's the loot? Come back. And apparently it needs to be a player kill. The mob grinders are not sufficient enough for those to drop. Hey, quite a bit of time has passed, and I've spent some time figuring out how to fix the problem of the mobs being teleported to the mob grinder, but then not giving the loot that's supposed to drop from the Botania. There's a lot of options. What I did is to fix it with Botania, so we're going to look at that in a second. I wanted to also point out that the eyeball in the middle of my chest on this Terrasteel armor is the third eye charm from Botania, and what it does is it highlights hostile mobs in the environment. Helps me see them. It's got a kind of a cool graphic going on there. So if we go back down to the basement, we can see that we have the Loonium there and a Belliform. And what that does is it uses mana to kill mobs in the area. And it has a little bit smaller of a area of action than the Loonium, and so I had to put in some of these vector plates to make sure the mobs are in the range, which is right in here. I think it actually goes into the wall a little bit, but they don't spawn over there anyway. So they die here, and then all their loots are picked up using the absorption hopper, which I had to put in 4 radius upgrades in there so that the entire radius. You can see that the lines are outlined of the area of the volume that is going to be picking up loot in, and is teleporting it back into where we have our loot being stored, and I'll talk about that next. Okay, just jumping back on here quickly. It's been overnight. Loonium has been running, and you can see from the mana mirror we are completely out of mana. So if you look in here at the Botania applied botanic system, it is completely drained of mana. So let's go see what kind of loot we've got. And initially I set up all these chests to collect the loot. And this is originally for dimlets, but no, there's way too much. It filled it up almost immediately, so I had to just basically put it into a separate refined storage system. And it didn't have very much in there. It's got 51,000 items overnight. Okay. So most of that is rope. Got a lot of compressed stone. This is all dungeon loot here. A lot of this programming puzzle pieces. And this Forbidden Arcana stuff. I'm not even sure what that's for. And it takes a long time to get repeats of these books. So it's been running. You can see how long it's been running. And we've got a lot of this. If you look at Ars Nouveau. This is all the Ars stuff we've gotten. Look at all of these rituals. A lot of these rituals I never planned on using. This is just amazing, the amount of stuff in here. So anyway, there's just a ton of loot in here. A lot of stuff from the Matacraft, of course. Not that many enchanted books, surprisingly. A lot of Ars Nouveau stuff. I probably would never make. It's good to have it. A lot of these rings, I was saying, these are pretty rare. I've never found these in loot chests. Oh, Ring of Heal, Ring of Greater Heal. Interesting. So those are unique. Not the same. So these are rings that give benefits to specifically one spell. What's really interesting is these invisibility rings. If you take one, put it in your inventory, you cannot see it. So it's probably been in a loot chest, and I have not seen it. A lot of this stuff from Ender.io, these loot capacitors. A lot of backpacks. These more books. And that's it. That's all we got from a night's worth of Loonium used over about 500 mana pools. It's incredibly expensive to run this thing. 500 mana pools of loot. There you go. Okay then, I'm going to bring the episode to a close right here. We have gotten the Loonium flower to work. It consumed all of our mana in less than a day. It was just overnight. Had to use the Balethorn to actually kill the mobs that had the mob loots, the legend loots in there. Couldn't do that with a mob grinder for some reason. Before I close this video, I wanted to acknowledge that the channel now has 10 subscribers. YouTube is not telling me all who they are, so I'm just want to say thank you to all the subscribers. I really appreciate it. It's nice that people want to know when I'm posting a new video, so I hope you enjoy them. Don't feel pressured to subscribe. I just really appreciate any interaction you have with the channel, or just watching it is enough for me. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.